Tonight on Nightline, collapse. $1 trillion wiped out as an historic day ends with political chaos and finger-pointing as the bailout plan is rejected on Capitol Hill. Money meltdown. Pensions, jobs, credit, homes, all threatened like never before. So what should you do? We're live with the answers you need to keep your money safe in this financial storm. And addicted. Meet Mary Dorr, a 24-year-old pregnant mother, former cheerleader and daughter of a school teacher. So how does someone like this get hooked on heroin?
From the global resources of ABC News with Terry Moran, Martin Bashir, and Cynthia McFadden in New York City, this is Nightline, September 29th, 2008.
Good evening. The president said he was disappointed. The Treasury Secretary said he was very disappointed. But it was the markets that were devastated by Congress's failure to pass the $700 billion rescue plan. When the final bell rang on Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average slumped to its biggest single-day fall in the history of the stock market. 777 points. That's 7% in a single day. $1 trillion had been lost by investors, and almost immediately, global markets were severely affected. So how did this Monday, which began with such high hopes, end in disaster? Jake Tapper reports on an economy in crisis.
Bipartisan cooperation is taking place here in Washington.
The bill was called a lot of things. The Wall Street bailout bill, the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act of 2008. But today, this was what the House Minority Leader called the legislation that he was asking his members to vote for.
None of us came here to have to vote for this mud sandwich.
Opponents of the bill were even less complimentary.
This is a huge cow patty with a piece of marshmallow stuck in the middle of it.
Idiots. September 29th, 2008 may just be today's date to you, but in history books, it will go down as an historic legislative disaster.
After an intense weekend of negotiation, virtually every top player in Washington and Wall Street were united behind the bill. And it still flamed out spectacularly.
There is now no chance of passing this bill.
Perhaps we should have seen it coming. The day began with an ominous start when the iconic stock exchange opening bell failed to ring due to technical issues. Still, most observers thought the bill would pass. A little after noon, Speaker Nancy Pelosi took to the floor and gave a speech laying the current crisis squarely at the feet of George W. Bush and his administration.
And now, 8 years later, the foundation of that fiscal irresponsibility, combined with an anything-goes economic policy, has taken us to where we are today.
Throughout the day, even those who said they would vote for the bill seemed to be doing so only because they were scared about what would happen if they did not.
It is wrong to do this to a country. It is wrong to do this to the Congress, but it just seems to me that I can't afford to take the risk. I support the work of Barney Frank and all of those who work diligently.
I'm not willing to put that bullet in the revolver and spin it.
But opponents chimed in as well.
But the rich and famous Wall Street, New York City fat cats expect Joe Sixpack to buck it up and pay for all this nonsense.
At the start of the day, Democrats said they thought they could deliver 140 votes. Republicans were shooting for 80 to get them to that final magic number of 218 to pass the bill. But would they reach it?
The vote began at 1:26.
This is a 15-minute vote.
But Democratic and Republican leaders who wanted the bill to pass quickly saw that the votes were not there. And that 15-minute vote became a 40-minute vote. And they tried to twist arms. On Wall Street, they were watching.
It was obvious as we were watching the vote go by that it was a little bit too close to call, and it began to become very obvious, and the market was reading that very well, that it was not going to pass. And with each vote, nay, we saw the market tick down a little bit more.
The motion is not adopted.
At 2:07, Congresswoman Ellen Tauscher of California gavelled the bill dead, a nail in its coffin. 60% of the Democrats voted for the bill. 66% of the Republicans voted against it. Only 65 Republicans came on board, short of their goal of 80. So what went wrong? Republicans immediately blamed House Speaker Pelosi's partisan speech for chasing away a dozen Republicans.
Right here is the reason I believe why this vote failed. And this is Speaker Pelosi's speech that frankly struck the tone of partisanship that frankly was inappropriate in this discussion.
That excuse seemed laughable to Democrats, who pointed out that the Republicans never had the votes.
Somebody hurt my feelings, so I will punish the country. I mean, that's hardly plausible. And there were 12 Republican members who were ready to stand up for the economic interests of America, but not if anybody insulted them. I'll make an offer. Give me those 12 people's names, and I will go talk uncharacteristically nicely to them.
And in an interview with Nightline, House Minority Whip Roy Blunt backed off the assertion.
We clearly had some members that were there but were precariously there. One or two of them may have been affected by the Speaker's speech.
At 4 p.m., the New York Stock Exchange came to a close, 777 points down for the day, the single largest drop in history. Blunt says one of the problems was few in Washington or on Wall Street seemed to understand that the American people themselves actually had to be convinced that this was a good thing for them in order for their elected representatives to vote for it.
At some point, it helps a lot if there's a real credit crisis in the country, if local banks start calling their congressman and saying, well, it's finally gotten here. We now feel the pinch.
All of this, of course, could have huge implications on the presidential race.
Good afternoon.
Last week, you may recall, Senator John McCain announced he was suspending his campaign to come to the Capitol to help with negotiations. This morning, McCain was back on the campaign trail, trumpeting the hard work he'd done working with House Republicans.
I put it on hold last week to fight for a rescue plan that puts you and your economic security and your family and working Americans first.
That, of course, was before the bill crashed and burned because only 1/3 of the House Republicans supported it. After the bill failed, McCain said it was the fault of Senator Barack Obama and the Democrats, though he also said now was no time to be worrying about whose fault it was.
Senator Obama and his allies in Congress infused unnecessary partisanship into the process. Now is not the time to fix the blame. It's time to fix the problem.
Obama has not been as much a part of this debate, which meant he would not have been able to claim much credit, or conversely, that today in Colorado, he was able to keep a cool distance from the blame.
So I'm confident that we are going to get there, but it's going to be a little rocky. It's sort of like flying into Denver. You know, you're going to land, but it's not always fun going over those mountains.
Rocky indeed. The Dow finished lower than when George W. Bush assumed the presidency. 10,587 then, compared to 10,365 at its close on September 29, 2008. This is Jake Tapper for Nightline on Capitol Hill.
Jake Tapper at the end of an historic day and still with no concrete word on what will have to change before the House approves the rescue plan. And when we come back, our financial contributor, Melody Hobson, joins us to break down what today's financial mess may mean for you.
The all-new 375-horsepower Hyundai Genesis can accelerate from 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds, which means if it starts now, it will reach 60 miles an hour now.
Right now, lease an all-new Hyundai Genesis for only $399 a month.
Someone has betrayed me.
We need to get our own man inside.
I can make it look like anything. Let's make it look like everything.
DiCaprio.
I thought Honey wanted to kill me.
Crow. You're not safe here.
We're not safe anywhere.
Body of Lies. From director Ridley Scott. Rated R.
Our plan is ambitious. 24 plants, 10 countries, 87 distribution centers, globally integrated, seamlessly connected, a new model of open
operation. 佢點做呢？
Mr. Chang asks, how do we do that?
We haven't figured that out yet.
Wait.
I'm in the Vatican. Religulous is a blasphemous damnation of all things holy.
Why doesn't God obliterate the devil?
He will.
He will. What's he waiting for?
Bill Maher has turned religion on its ear. Welcome to Bible country! Religulous, rated R, in theaters everywhere Friday.
Who Goes Home? Dancing with the Stars, the results live tomorrow, 9/8 Central on ABC. Tuesday, 8/7 Central, a television event. Ashton Kutcher will surprise one family with one question to win 50 grand.
The opportunity could be knocking on your door.
Opportunity Knocks, Tuesday, 8/7 Central on ABC.
As a teacher, I have serious concerns about Measure 60. Not all children learn in the same way, and Measure 60's one-size-fits-all approach just won't work. Measure 60 was written by Bill Sizemore, who has no experience in education. It's vague and poorly written and could have all kinds of unintended consequences. It fails to define how teachers and kids' performance would be measured, and it doesn't say who is judging teachers or how. Please join parents and teachers and vote no on Measure 60.
During today's record Dow Jones nosedive, American investors lost close to $1 trillion. So what does it all mean to you, and how can you be sure that your money is safe? Well, we turn now to ABC News financial contributor Melody Hobson. Good evening, Melody.
Good evening.
Secretary Paulson said today that families will feel the credit crunch. So how is it possible that a crisis that started in investment banks on Wall Street is actually going to affect the average American family's spending and income?
There's no question that the troubles on Wall Street have absolutely bled into Main Street. And we see it in a number of ways. First and foremost, no matter who you are right now, big company, small company, individual, it is very hard to get a loan. And so for everyday people on Main Street, that means loans to send your kids to college or to buy a car or a house virtually are non-existent. So that's a very real effect that has massive implications.
There's also an implication involving people's ownership of stocks and shares, because around something like 75% of Americans invest in stocks.
That's correct. 62 million people alone through their 401k plan at work. And you've already mentioned that $1 trillion that just evaporated. With the stock market down about 7% today, if you had $10,000 in your account, you're $700 poorer, regardless of the fact that you actually didn't do anything, and maybe the underlying companies that you own are fine. But everything went down in sympathy today.
So I understand how it affects me today in the present, say, for example, trying to get a loan. But what about the future? What are the implications of this crisis into my future, say, in 10, 15, 20 years' time?
Well, let's talk about the intermediate future and then the long-term future. The intermediate future is the true threat of a recession in the United States. Should that happen, and it's becoming more and more likely with every day that we sit here stalled, to the extent that that happens, that means job losses in this country, and that's never a good thing. So that's higher unemployment, no question about it, if that were to happen. Longer term, the amount of value that has evaporated in people's retirement accounts means that they may have to work longer, may have to invest more to try to shore up their retirement. So there are longer-term implications here, not just short-term implications, unless we get things back on track.
And is it your belief, Melody, finally, that if this bill had passed in the House, it would have preempted some of these difficulties?
I think we would have seen a completely different result today. I think the market probably would have rallied on the news and breathed a sigh of relief. But of course, we saw just the opposite occur, and there was real pain, severe pain that was felt.
Melody Hobson, thank you.
Thank you.
And when we come back, Mary's story, how this woman got hooked on heroin and how she's struggling to get her daily fix, even while she's 5 months pregnant.
What are you smiling at?
Don't be fooled by the smile.
Ernie Davis was the best the game had ever seen.
He's too fast for these kids. He's too fast for anybody.
His talent made him a winner.
I've never walked off the field for anybody.
His courage.
You think we've been south? We ain't been south till we go to Texas.
Made him a legend.
I'm ready.
This Saturday,
44 is embarrassing you.
experience the inspiring true story of an American hero. The Express. Rated PG. Sneak preview this Saturday.
In the midst of war, Senator Obama voted to cut off funding for our troops. What did Biden say?
They said they voted against the money to make a political point.
He added,
This is cutting off support that will save the lives of thousands of American troops.
Barack Obama, playing politics, risking lives, not ready to lead.
I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
In only 2 days, they're solving crimes, one touch at a time.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, what?
Hell no!
ABC's Pushing Daisies season premiere Wednesday at 8/7 Central on ABC.
Oregon's economy is hurting, and gas prices are out of control. But Jeff Merkley can't see the forest for the trees. Jeff Merkley voted to increase the gas tax 4 different times. And Jeff Merkley supported all kinds of job-killing tax hikes. Merkley voted for higher personal income taxes, higher taxes on businesses, higher property taxes. Merkley even voted against the kicker tax refund. Jeff Merkley. He's bad for job growth in Oregon. The National Republican Senatorial Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Jeff Merkley was asked when he would be willing to support a tax hike.
I advocate for tax hikes every night in living rooms across Oregon.
What did he say?
I advocate for tax hikes every night in living rooms across Oregon.
In Salem, Merkley backed higher gas taxes, diesel taxes, business taxes, hotel taxes, and more.
I advocate for tax hikes every night in living rooms across Oregon.
He is telling the truth about that. Call Merkley. Tell him tax hikes are bad policy. Freedom's Watch is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Millions of Americans used to think they couldn't afford their prescriptions month in and month out, that they'd have to cut back or go without their medications altogether. Then they asked us for a second opinion. The Walmart prescription drug program has saved Americans $1 billion in just over a year. It's another way we're working to make quality health care affordable and accessible for everyone. Save money. Live better. Walmart.
Why would a liberal Democrat like me vote for Gordon Smith? Because I've seen Gordon stand by his principles many times against his own party. Supporting funding for women's health clinics and gay rights, opposing oil drilling in Alaska, and so important to me, he was one of the first Republicans to break with George Bush and his party to end this awful war. His integrity and honesty are good for Oregon.
I'm Gordon Smith, and I approve this ad.
Nightline continues from New York City with Martin Bashir.
She grew up in a Christian household, became a cheerleader, and was nurtured by her mother, a schoolteacher. But now, at the age of just 24, Mary Dorr is addicted to heroin. And her addiction began not in one of America's big cities, but in a rural community, one of many across the heartland where heroin epidemics have taken hold. Lisa Ling now reports on Farm Country.
My mom had raised me in a Christian household. I was a cheerleader. I had a lot of friends.
Mary Dorr has spent all of her life here in this rural stretch of Ohio, the American Farm Belt, where she still lives with her mother, a school teacher, and her daughter Riley, who is 4.
Good job.
Mary is 24 years old, 5 months pregnant, and hooked on heroin.
I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, dope sick, with my stomach in cramps and sweating. I have to get up out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and go and use. And then I go back to bed and I wake up a few hours later and have to go use again.
I mean, people are looking at this right now and they see this pretty girl who seems to be acting very normally.
This is what I need to be normal. You know,
I have to do dope every day to be normal. If I didn't have my dope this morning, I would be laying in bed right now, thrashing around and vomiting. You know, I wouldn't be able to function. I need that to function every day.
It turns out that here in the rural heartland, heroin is everywhere.
I would say it's epidemic proportions around here as far as the heroin. It's everywhere you go. It's like it's snowing heroin everywhere.
Snowing in towns like Plymouth, Ohio, where Mary grew up.
There's probably not a family in this area, not just Plymouth and surrounding area, hasn't been touched by heroin. I would venture that there's nobody has.
This is a town of what, 1,800 people?
That's correct.
How did this happen?
Let's roll.
We went on a drive with the cops to Columbus, an hour away, where most of the locals in these small towns go to get their heroin. With us was a police informant, a former addict who asked us to disguise his voice and face because he works undercover.
How did you get hooked up with heroin?
I started out snorting like Vicodins and Percocets, and eventually went to Oxycontins.
We heard the same story from most of the addicts we met. Most of them started on prescription painkillers and ended up on heroin because it was easy to get, much stronger, and a lot cheaper.
The guys we get it off of, they sell it in what's called balloons. Typically, people get anywhere from 7 to 10 of these balloons for $100, or they're $20 a piece.
There they are. Okay. Here we go.
There they are.
We follow behind as he slips into the dealer's car to make an undercover buy for the police. The cops say the dealer is part of a Mexican network that sells black tar heroin.
These are my arms, but there's nowhere I can hit. And I've blown out all my wrist veins.
Mary told us she makes the trip to Columbus almost daily.
I've blown out all my hand veins and all the veins in my fingers.
This summer, she made the drive to Columbus again, but this time to check herself into a detox program for pregnant women. It got her off heroin using the drug methadone, but there is no methadone clinic here where she lives, and within a few days, she was using again.
The detox is unbelievable. And I might make it to the second day, and I'm just spazzing out and panicking. And the second day, I'm trying to find a fix. I can't do it.
And her pregnancy complicates things. She can't quit cold turkey because her unborn child is now addicted to heroin.
If I do not get the help that I need, this baby is going to be addicted to heroin.
But what about when it's born?
I know, that's why I'm trying desperately to get some help now. That's what I did with my first daughter. I did what I had to do.
Mary told us she used when she was pregnant with her 4-year-old daughter, Riley.
I mean, could you just stop, Mary? Like, could you just not put heroin into your system anymore?
The fact that I've been using for 7 years, each time you get strung out and each time you go through detox, it gets worse and worse. And the fact that I'm using, the amount that I'm using, which isn't a lot, I've cut back half of what I was using. I was using 6 balloons a day, now I'm using maybe 3. People will say, well, if you love your daughter, you will shape up. It's not really a question of loving my daughter. I'm a mother. I love my daughter as much as any mother could love their daughter.
Sorry. Yeah. Why'd you start crying?
Because it's hard to know that my daughter has to go through what I put her through. She deserves so much better. And now that I'm pregnant, I know I'm going to give this baby up for adoption because it's the right thing to do. And sometimes I wonder if I shouldn't have given her up for adoption. Because she has to see me come in and out of her life, and it's not fair. It's not fair.
I'll do the drums. What are you going to do?
Mary's mom has custody of little Riley and cares for her while desperately trying to find help for her daughter. But help is hard to find in the heartland.
The treatments wouldn't be quite as difficult to find somebody in this area if you're lucky enough to have insurance. That's a big one.
First, the addict has to get clean, but there is no heroin detox facility in the entire county, so addicts have to wean themselves off the drug on their own. After detox, there's long-term rehabilitation, and with facilities few and far between, it's hard for addicts to get to them.
And who's the typical heroin user in this community?
You don't know. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, it could be the person that played football in high school. It could be the person next door. You know, mostly you hear about mothers talking to mothers and just so many of their kids, so many people my age are strung out. But even people my mother's age in their 40s are strung out too. It's caught them too.
You need this.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of life do you think you are going to have?
Well, if I continue this way, I won't have a life. I have no life right now. It's not too far. Like, seeing myself clean is not out of sight yet, which I can't lose that. If I lose that, then I have nothing.
In Mansfield, Ohio, I'm Lisa Ling for Nightline.
After we shot this piece, Mary and her mother were guests on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and the talk show host offered to send Mary to her rehab facility. We talked to Mary today, 3 weeks later, and she's optimistic about staying clean. You can read more by clicking on the Nightline page at abcnews.com, and we wish her well. And when we come back, the world reacts to today's economic events.
ABC News Nightline, brought to you by MasterCard.
"28 laughs, 9 hugs, 52 smiles, 2 contented sighs, $0. A free day to take them all in, priceless. You could get free hotel stays and many other offers. Do you have a World MasterCard?
A wholesome family meal. You make it fresh and fast. A hot casserole from the oven. And share family times that last. Campbell's hearty chicken and noodle casserole. Possibilities.
You're fighting one of the most powerful corporations in the world.
Flash of Genius is the remarkable true story about a man with unbelievable determination and heart. It's hugely entertaining.
It's just a windshield wiper. To me, it's the Mona Lisa.
Flash of Genius. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday.
As America's economic crisis builds, Good Morning America has been out there with you and for you, getting to the heart of the issues, asking tough questions of the people in charge. When you need to know how to protect your money now, turn to Good Morning America.
The new Mazda 6, more goosebumps. And at 30 mpg, less fuel pumps.
Retailers and retailers billions of dollars and raise food prices. Retailers have 6 months to add those country of origin labels.
A baby's body length at birth may indicate their risk for breast cancer later in life. Researchers studied the medical charts of more than 22,000 women who had breast cancer, and they found those who had the largest birth length, mostly over 20 inches, had the highest risk for breast cancer. Experts say longer babies may have been exposed to different prenatal conditions, but they aren't sure of the specific reason for the increased risk for breast cancer. A new study finds sweet smells can bring you sweet dreams. Researchers exposed a group of people to either a rotten egg or a rose smell while they slept. When they woke up, they asked each person to describe their dreams, and those who experienced the unpleasant rotten egg odor were more likely to have negative dreams. And those who smelled roses had almost all positive dreams. Researchers say their findings may open up the possibility of using odors for sleep therapy. So sleep on a bed of roses.
Which is why my wife has all these nightmares, I'm sure.
Like rotten eggs, yeah. Oh, poor Kathy.
Looking for another reason to ride the bus? Up next, we have about 20 reasons riders say it's the easiest way to get downtown.
And don't forget to join us every night for 10 at 10. All your news in the first 10 minutes. You'll find us on Portland's CW. That's cable channel 3 and channel 32. If you don't have cable, join us tonight for News Channel 8's 10 at 10 on Portland's CW.
Every morning, turn to the trusted experience of the #1 news station. The critical news from overnight. The morning's first breaking news. Solutions to help stretch your dollar. Only meteorologist Dave Zaleski with live Doppler 8000 in HD can give you the most accurate forecast, preparing you each day for the changing weather. And Sky 8, the only morning news helicopter in the air. Proven experience, proven trust. Exclusively in HD, News Channel 8 at sunrise, where the news comes first.
This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, thousands of people will be here at George Moreland Plumbing in Tigard. Why? It's our annual fall inventory clearance sale with hundreds of plumbing items on sale, including sinks, faucets, Whirlpool bathtubs, and more, all at rock-bottom clearance prices. If you're building or remodeling, don't miss it. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only here at George Moreland Plumbing in Tigard.
George Moreland Plumbing, the water heater king.
As a teacher, I have serious concerns about Measure 60. Not all children learn in the same way, and Measure 60's one-size-fits-all approach just won't work. Measure 60 was written by Bill Sizemore, who has no experience in education. It's vague and poorly written and could have all kinds of unintended consequences. It fails to define how teachers and kids' performance would be measured, and it doesn't say who is judging teachers or how. Please join parents and teachers and vote no on Measure 60.
The power of more bankers to help you? Actually getting to eat lunch during lunch hour. More people in more branches open more hours and more days. That's the power of U.S. Bank. What more could you ask for? More cash for more kitchen? Done. Get more out of your home with a more competitive U.S. Bank home equity rate. Apply today at the bank that gives you the power of, well, you know, more. U.S. Bank. 5-star service guaranteed.
Digital TV is coming this February. You've got questions. The experts at Standard TV and Appliance have answers. Choosing a plasma, LCD, or DLP TV? What size? What brand? Will you be watching movies or video gaming? And what accessories will you need? Standard can help with a huge selection of top-name brands and a low price guarantee. So you'll be ready for the amazing picture quality of HD TV. Standard TV and Appliance and KGW, your digital experts.
New at 6, we take a tour of Yamhill County's wine country. This is where a proposed natural gas pipeline would run. It is the same land where the prized Pinot Noir grapes are grown. How much it would cost the community. And day one of Blazer training camp finds Greg Oden limping off the court. Is it serious? The story at 6.
You will soon see 20 new signs on TriMet buses. TriMet held a contest for riders to come up with slogans for its Downtown the Easy Way contest. Trying to advertise itself as the easiest way to get to downtown Portland, even during construction. TriMet picked 19 winners from about 1,200 entries. Those riders will receive an all-zone pass, good for all of November.
Looks like some good signs there, too. Nightly News is straight ahead with a look at how safe your money is during these tumultuous economic times.
Also clearing the air, the possible environmental link between where you live and your child's allergies.
And that's coming up next on Nightly News. We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock. Enjoy your evening.